Once upon a time, in the quiet northern island of Hokkaido, Japan, there was a little clearing deep in the forest where the trees whispered like lullabies in the wind. The air smelled of pine needles and moss, and soft mist clung gently to the earth like a silk blanket. In that peaceful place lived an old badger named Kuro, whose fur was the color of warm tree bark and who moved slowly, like the rhythm of the seasons. He had lived in the forest for so long that even the birds trusted him, and the flowers opened more brightly near his burrow. Every evening, Kuro would sit on a rock beside a trickling stream and watch the sky turn from gold to lavender to midnight blue. One day, as autumn was beginning to stretch its fingers over the leaves, a small breeze fluttered down from the mountains. It carried the scent of the first snow. Even though the snow wouldn't fall for many weeks, Kuro sniffed the air and smiled. He knew it was time to prepare for his winter nap. Gently and without hurry, he padded through the woods, visiting all his friends. He stopped by the old cedar where the owls lived, and they hooted soft farewells. He listened to the rustling of the red maples, whose leaves were already turning into tiny fires of crimson. He gathered mushrooms and chestnuts, not too many, just enough. And finally he returned to his den, a hollow tucked beneath a tangle of roots, soft and cool and quiet. He curled up in a bed of dry leaves and fern, the sound of the stream still whispering outside like a lullaby just for him. The stars appeared one by one in the sky above the forest, and the moon rose like a silver lantern, watching over all. As Kuro drifted into sleep, so did the forest. The crickets slowed their song. The wind became still. Even the trees seemed to lean closer together, as if they too were ready to rest. And far, far away, a gentle snowflake, just one, fell from the mountain and landed softly on a branch. The forest slept, and now, maybe you can too. Good night.
A sleepy story from the lavender fields of Provence, France. Once upon a gentle summer evening in the countryside of Provence, France, the lavender fields stretched out like a violet ocean under a sky painted with fading gold and soft peach. The air was warm and smelled sweet, like wild herbs and flowers that had been kissed by the sun all day. And in the middle of those peaceful fields lived a little hedgehog named Emile. He was a quiet fellow with a round belly, short legs, and a love for soft places to nap. Every day, he would shuffle through the tall lavender stalks, listening to the bees hum their sleepy songs as they floated lazily from bloom to bloom. Emile had one favorite spot, an old stone wall, half covered in moss, with a cozy hollow just big enough for a hedgehog. He'd climb up slowly, stretch out his tiny paws, and watch the countryside as it drifted into dusk. One evening, the sky turned a dreamy shade of lilac, and a gentle breeze stirred the lavender flowers so that they waved like a purple sea. The bees had all gone home. A nightingale sang softly from an olive tree nearby. The first star twinkled high above. Emile gave a little sigh. He loved this time most, the in-between of day and night, when everything in nature seemed to slow down and take a deep, sleepy breath. That he curled up into a little ball, nestled into the hollow of the wall, and listened. He listened to the rustle of lavender. He listened to the wind telling secrets to the grass. He listened to the soft sound of the earth turning ever so gently under the moonlight as the stars sprinkled across the sky like powdered sugar. The whole field fell into a hush. Even the moon moved slowly, casting silver light over the flowers. And Emile? He dreamed of rivers that sparkled in the morning sun, and hills that rolled like soft pillows, and clouds that drifted low enough to carry you away. And now, you too can rest softly, slowly, like Emile in his lavender fields. Sleep well.
The Whispering Sand, a desert bedtime story in a faraway corner of the earth, where the sun kissed the land with golden fire and the stars danced more freely in the open sky, there lay a vast, quiet desert called Saffron Vale. It stretched beyond the horizon, blanketed in warm sands that shimmered during the day and whispered secrets at night. Though it seemed empty to many, this desert was alive, humming with the kind of life that only revealed itself to those patient enough to listen. Each evening, when the heat finally slipped away and the sky turned lavender and gold, the desert would awaken with a different kind of magic. At the base of a tall, crooked dune named Old Crescent, a tiny fennec fox named Lua curled into a ball beneath a scraggly bush. Lua was soft and sandy-colored, like a piece of the desert itself. She liked to nap during the day when the sun roared like a lion, and awaken in the twilight to explore the cooler, quieter world. Tonight, the air was strange. Not frightening, just a little unusual. The wind was playing a wild game, spinning in loops and tugging gently at the tufts of fur on Lua's ears. It carried the scent of something ancient and sweet, like rain on dry stone. Lua opened one eye and looked around. Over the next hill, a creaky Joshua tree swayed and clicked its wooden fingers, even though no storm was near. The cactus blooms, normally tucked in tight until morning, were opening under the starlight, revealing soft pink petals that glowed faintly. A caravan of beetles marched in near-perfect formation, their tiny legs clicking in rhythm, as if pulled by some invisible drummer, and high above, the stars weren't just twinkling, they seemed to be listening. Lua padded gently over the warm sand, past a rock shaped like a sleeping dragon and a patch of moon-colored moss that hadn't been there yesterday. She paused beside a burrow where a desert hedgehog snored gently, and the snore sounded musical, almost like a lullaby made of wind and time. "Something is happening," Lua whispered, more to the sand than to anyone in particular. The sand responded with a hush, a sound so soft, it was like someone turning a page in a storybook. From somewhere deep in the heart of Saffron Vale, a sound began to rise. It wasn't a howl or a cry, but a low, beautiful hum. It came from the dunes, the rocks, even the bones of ancient camels long since returned to the earth. The desert was singing, not loudly, not frantically, but gently, like it was remembering something it hadn't thought of in a very long time. Lua lay down again, this time in the center of a shallow bowl of sand that felt just warm enough to be comforting. She closed her eyes, letting the soft thrum of the desert fill her ears like a heartbeat. Above her, the Milky Way poured its light across the heavens, and even the stars seemed to sway to the music. The desert was not empty. It was not harsh. It was a place of quiet wonders, wild rhythms, and strange beauty, like a dream half remembered. And so, under the watchful sky and the desert's gentle song, Lua drifted back to sleep, carried by the winds that whispered and the sands that remembered. Sleep well, little dreamer. The desert watches over you, and its lullaby goes on forever.